Hey Temptalia readers, it's Brett Friedman, LA-based makeup artist, and I was talking to Christine about emails and questions she had from you guys about how to humidity-proof your makeup. So here are my tips to look polished and pulled together. So tip number one, let's talk about foundation, the biggie, because you want something that's going to adhere to the skin, give you a veil of coverage, but stay and look natural. So I love Lorac Natural Performance Foundation. So here it is right here. I stumbled on this. I was just in a department store and checking stuff out, and I just thought I actually really liked the way it opened. But what's really great about this stuff is that it really holds. I was doing a photo shoot with Vanessa Hudgens, and they wanted her a little bit tan and kind of rolling in the grass and looking very dewy. So being that we're in LA, it was very hot that day. I mean, even the grass was hot. So, I'd had this on hand in a shade that looked a little tawny, it looked a little bronzier than her skin tone. So I thought, let me try it. Let me tell you, it really held up. It really did a great job. And what I liked about it is, even though she was, sort of glowing and there was a dewiness to her skin, the foundation really stayed. It wasn't, sort of breaking up, and that's super important. Now, if you're going in the drugstore and you want to find something that's comparable, I love Revlon's Color Stay. And when it says Color Stay, it means it, because it holds up. So that's what you want to do. You want to use a foundation that's almost like a sport foundation. Okay, Temptalia gals, here's your second tip. So let's talk about cheek color. I love a great cheek stain. And what I love about it is it stays and it gives your skin a lit from within look. And when it is a little bit dewy out and there's a lot of humidity, you want something that really actually becomes a part of the skin, something that powders, and a lot of creams can't do. What's great about the gels and the stains is that they kind of absorb into the skin and actually kind of tint it a little bit. So what I love is Benefit's Posy Tint. So anyone that's familiar with makeup, as you gals are, I'm sure, we all know about Benetint. But this is their kind of a little pinky, kind of Pepto-Bismol-y. I hate to say that, but that's kind of the connotation. But it's a really sweet pink. So I love both. I think both are really great. But here's my tip, is apply before your foundation. And then you get the veil, and then you look sort of lit from within. And that way, the stain or gel is actually adhering to your skin, not tinting the makeup that's over your skin. So you may want to put a little extra. You may look, a little Bozo the Clowny, but then do the veil of coverage. It'll tone it down, it'll stay longer, and look really beautiful. I did Jessica Biel for an event, and we did something like this. It was in Palm Springs, very warm. So, sort of all the shimmery and powdery blushes were off the docket. And we were doing stains and gels. So, I used the Posy Tint on her. It looked really beautiful, and it stayed all night. Now, if you're in the drugstore, Almay does a really great, it's like a smart foundation, I think it's called. It's in a tube. I don't have one here, but my sister actually is a flight attendant, and she told me about it, and I went and got some, and I really love that too. So that's a really great, if you're just knocking around and want to try something, that's right around the corner, and it's probably under $4. Let's talk about blotting and anti-shine. Huge in the summer and late summer. So you want your skin to look, satin, but not matte. It won't look season appropriate. So you want to, get a little bit of the shine or perspiration off, but you don't want to completely cover or take it away, because there is a nice roundness and depth you do get from a natural glow. So what I suggest is, if you are touching up in between, use a tissue, not necessarily powder. Don't always powder down. Go over with a tissue, get the perspiration first, because the powder is just going to mix with that anyway, and it's going to get muddy and heavy looking. Now, using powder, I love MAC has their blot powder, which is a low pigment powder. It actually comes in shades. It comes in light, medium, dark, and there's a bunch of like 4 or 5. But for most people, I think a medium is good. So they're low pigment, they're not no pigment. So there is a little bit of an element of color there, but so minimal, and it's great for touching up because you don't want to get your regular heavy pigmented powder, because you are going to be touching up a little more than you would in the cooler months, and you don't want to layer pigment on pigment, especially if you're already wearing a little bit of a tinted moisturizer or a foundation. Now, if you're in the drugstore, I love a classic clean and clear papers. They're actually film, it's plastic, and it just finds the oil and zaps it out. And what's great about these, rather than blotting papers, is there's no powder on them. So these are also really good for your man. And that's kind of my thing. I do that a lot on set, is I try to put the pigmented products, like the foundations, like I said, and the tinted moisturizers on first, and then touch up throughout the day with things that are much sheerer and much lighter. So there's 3 great humidity proofing makeup tips. And I would love to do this all day. It's so much fun, but I don't want you guys to lose interest, and I want to keep the tips quick. So just at the tail end, these tips go without even mentioning that you should be looking for a waterproof mascara or a weatherproof mascara. And a tip at the tail end of a tip is using the cheek stain. I was doing a shoot with Sienna Miller, and I gave her lips a little extra, I did her cheeks with the Posy tint, and then put a little on her lips. And what we noticed is, while we were all having lunch, her lip color stayed on. So, I mean, the gloss that I had used over top had worn away, but the stain had actually kind of changed the color of her lip. And it is true, a stain just actually becomes part of the skin and will last longer. So there's something for your everyday life. If your lip liner and lip gloss are melting off, or you're doing something, and in between touch-ups, you'll have that safety net. So take a little touch of that gel blush or the stain and put on your lips first. So there you go. Thank you, Christine, for letting me talk to your readers directly. That was awesome. And I love Temptalia. Goodbye from Los Angeles. I'm Brett Friedman.